Okay, children, in the previous class we discussed electric dipole and intensity of electric field. In this class we will be discussing electric field lines. Let's understand what exactly is electric field line. Okay, imagine there is a continuous curve and at a certain point of the curve P, I want to know direction of electric field, and then direction of electric can be found by drawing a tangent at this point. Similarly, there is another point Q on the curve at which I want to find out the direction of electric field. Again, we draw a tangent at this point. There is a point R, and I want to know direction of electric field at R. And these electric fields at all these points are given by tangent drawn at these points. Then this curve becomes electric field line. So how we define? Electric field line is a continuous curve such that a tangent drawn at any point gives direction of electric field at that point. So we define it is a continuous curve, line or curve such that a tangent drawn at a point on the curve gives direction of electric field at that point. Gives direction of electric field at that point. So this becomes an electric field line, because from drawing tangent at any point, I am getting direction of electric field at that point. Now, if I give a test charge, positive test charge, then you know a positive charge experiences a force in the direction of electric field. So I can also say like this, that if any positive charge is released, it will follow the same path as the tangent. Okay? So it is important concept to understand. Now we will be seeing what will be the shapes of electric lines of force due to different type of charge distributions. So shapes of field lines. We will be seeing what will be the shapes of electric field lines due to different types of charges. We will begin with point charges, because we will be dealing mostly with point charges. Point charge will be positive. You can imagine this like a bulb. When you switch on the bulb, then light spreads in all directions. It follows a three-dimensional pattern. So electric field with a positive charge, electric field line will be directed radially outwards like this. Will be directed radially outwards like this. So it will be following a spherical symmetry. It will be like a sphere. I can imagine like this. Like it will be spreading in all directions. So it will be tracing what? A sphere. And the field lines will be directed away from it. If I consider a negative charge here, this also be radial. You can imagine that the charge is like the center of the sphere, and these lines are coming outwards. Here you can imagine the charge is the center of the sphere, and the lines are going into the into the charge. Y into and outside. If it is positive, then the electric field is what? Away from the charge. So it is away, the lines are away. If it is negative, electric field is what? Into the charge. So it is inside. In both cases, the electric field is radial. These are called what fields? Radial. Field is directed radially. Now what will happen? If I have a dipole meaning a positive charge and a negative charge. Let's see here. I have a positive charge out here. Now, will you see the electric field action electric dipole? Electric dipole, it consists of a system of two charges. One is positive, the other is negative. Let's see how the electric field lines will be directed. Actually, they will start from positive and they will get into negative. Start from positive and into negative. You can see the curve here. As you are moving away, then you can see the expansion of the lines becomes more laterally expanding more. This is where now lines come out of the positive charge. So this is how they will go, and they go into the negative charge. So here you can see that they will go into the negative charge. They are already going to negative charge. So this is for you to remember carefully that the lines here will go into the negative charge and going away from the positive charge. Away from positive into the negative charge. If I have two positive charges, one is positive here and the one is positive here. Now they are mutually repelling each other. So here we have a neutral point, and this is how the lines will be splitting. Okay? This is how the lines are splitting. Alright? Away from positive charge. Away from positive charge here also. Suppose a linear distribution of charge. This is a linear distribution of charge. So these lines will be straight. These lines will be straight. Okay, away from the positive charge. And suppose this linear distribution of charge is negative. Let's see this one. Negative charge. So here also the lines will be straight. There will be straight lines like this. But they will be going into the charge. Now you can also imagine a cylindrical conductor, charge conductor like this. Let's see what the thin lines of force. This is cylindrical. Here the lines will be straight. Yes, here the lines will be straight. But here lines will be curved. Same thing here also, they will curve. So we have seen electric lines of force or electric field lines due to different kinds of charge distributions. These are all point charges. Then you got linear charge distribution also, cylindrical as well as seen. Now check the missing properties of electric field lines. What are their properties? The last question on this also, property of electric line of force. So missing property of field lines. Property of lines. Field lines have certain special properties that you need to know. First one is they start from positive charge and into negative charge. They start from positive and into negative. If I have positive charge here and I have negative charge here, this is how they are doing. So you can see that they don't maintain continuity actually. They start from an area, they maintain continuity, they don't form closed loops. These loops are not closed, they starting from here and ending here. So they do not form closed loops. They do not form closed loops. Means they can't form closed loop. They start from one point into another point. Number 3, which already did, electric field is given by tangent. Electric field is given by tangent at a given point on the field line. This we already discussed. You want to find out direction of electric field at any point. So this is electric field line. At this point, you want to find out the direction of electric field. What you do? You draw rectangle. This is what the property says. Electric field is given by tangent at a given point on the field line. Number 4, they do not intersect each other. They do not intersect each other. What the reason? Why they do not intersect each other? The reason is that if two field lines intersect each other, then at the same point you can draw how many tangents? 2 tangents. That means at a given point P, 2 electric field directions are possible, which is contrary to our assumption, because there is only one field at one point, so they do not intersect each other. Now, intensity of electric field is in fact related to this. Intensity of electric field is directly proportional to density of lines. Now this is an important point that you have to know. What does this point mean? Intensity of electric field is directly proportional to density of lines. It means more closely packed the lines are, stronger is the electric field. If you look at this diagram, here you see one pattern of lines. Suppose these are lines, and then here we have another pattern. Same 4 lines, but here they are far separated. Separation with them is more. So, suppose I consider point P here, and I consider point Q here. So, electric field at P will be more than electric field at Q, where the lines are more crowded. The more crowded the lines are, greater the intensity of the electric field. Number 6. They contract longitudinally and expand laterally. What does it mean? Whenever we draw electric line of force, like in this case, you can see the contacting lengthwise, the expanding sideways. This is what the property says. Contacting sideways shows that they are repelling each other, meaning if I put a point charge here and I put a point charge, they will be repelling each other, so there will be lateral expansion of the electric field lines. So these are some of the points which you have to know. Always remember, they are starting from positive charge and they are ending into a negative charge. Many times you will be given a confusing diagram like this. And you will be told to find out whether this electric field line is right or wrong. So actually it is wrong. Okay, this side is going from positive to negative, but this side is going from negative to positive. So this diagram is wrong, and you should keep in mind this concept. Now children, once you have discussed electric field lines, I think by now you are clear that electric field lines can be visualized by seeing a bulb glow. Just like when a bulb glows, then the rays are coming out. Similarly, whenever there is a charge, electric lines of force or electric field lines also emerging from there. If it's positive, they are coming out, and negative is going inside. So the gist is that wherever there is electric field, there has to be electric field line. We cannot imagine electric field without electric field lines. You can smile. Electric field lines can be visualized as what? Light coming into your room through a window. Light emanating out of a bulb which is kept on. Similar concept we are going to use here. You can visualize just like the rays are shooting away from a source of light, electric lines of force are also shooting away from a charge. And the next important point you discussed is when the field lines will be closer, then the electric field will be stronger, and when the field is separated, less dense, the electric field is also weaker. Now we will be saying a few key terms, like we have electric flux density. What is electric flux density? Children, imagine the region here. There is certain electric field. This is certain electric field. And I am holding a surface here. These are electric field lines. This is how they are coming out. These field lines are passing through the given surface. Now, how many lines are? Suppose I choose 1 square meter of this area. How much area I choose? 1 meter square. If I choose 1 meter square area of a surface, then how many lines are passing through this surface area? That's called electric flux density. For example, if I take this surface, suppose 1 meter square, only 2 lines are passing, then electric flux density is going to answer 2. Very simple. So, number of lines passing through unit area at right angle is equal to electric flux density. And children, electric flux density will have same value as intensity of electric field. So electric flux density is same value as intensity of electric field. So if I say like this, then through 1 meter square how many lines are passing? E lines. So that will be very correct. 1 meter square how many lines? E lines are passing through. Suppose total number of lines are n. Let total number of lines is equal to n passing at right angle and surface area is equal to suppose A, then what will be the flux density? Flux density means number of lines passing through unit surface area, and that will be equal to how much? E. So we have this in mind. Number of lines passing through given surface area at right angle is known as electric flux density, and numerically it is equal to E. Now, before we go to the discussion of electric flux, we will understand an important concept of area vector. You see, this is the surface on which I am writing. This is a two-dimensional surface. It is length and it is breadth. Now, if I consider a vector which is directed at right angle to the surface like this, or it could also be like this, meaning it could be outwards, or it could be what? Inwards. So both are considered as what? Area vectors. But generally speaking, I will be taking area vector as the outward norm. Like suppose I consider XYZ plane, and here I place a rectangle. Its length is what? L, breadth is B. The notice area is equal to how much? L cross B. L is Li, B is Bj. If I multiply it, I get L into B, I cross J, and I cross J I have done in cross product is how much? K, L B into K. L B is how much? Area A into K. So this is actually, this has become area vector regarding A vector. So area vector is a vector which is pointed perpendicular to the given surface area. This is Z, then this is how we consider the area 2. Now suppose I take an area out here in ZX plane, then its area vector will be on which axis? Y axis. Okay, that's about two-dimensional space. Area is equal to here got A into K. So area vector is directed perpendicular to a given surface area, and by convention we take the outward normal. Outward normal. There are two normals. This is outside and this is inside. So we take this one. Okay. Suppose I hold this duster in my hand. So surface area will be directed like this. This of course is three-dimensional surface. Three-dimensional object. So for this surface, area vector is like this. For this surface, area vector is like this. For this surface, area is toward the board. For this surface, area is towards the other wall. For this surface, area is down into the floor. And this surface area, this area vector is toward the camera. Towards the camera. So you should be careful about this area vector. Area vector is only directed perpendicular to a given area. If I consider three-dimensional space, suppose I consider three-dimensional space like this. Let's answer. I can easily demonstrate it like this. It's basically the same thing. So this is x-axis, this is along y-axis, this is along z-axis, this being the origin. So area vector for this surface area will be like this. This surface area will be upwards. downwards. There will be an opposite direction. This will be to my right. And there will be two more surfaces. One is this one. It will be towards the camera, and this will be into the board. Clear? So area vector is directed perpendicular to a given surface area. Given surface area. Okay. It is given by outward normal. Given by outward normal. So you bear this in mind. Area vector is placed always perpendicular to the given surface area in the outward direction. I can consider a circular plate here, like a disc. So surface area will be this, perpendicular to the given surface area. Here, in a two-dimensional space, we take this also. But generally, we define what is the outwards, and we are taking outwards only. So I'm saying about the concept of area vector now. You can use cross product either, or you can directly remember by using convention that area vector is directed perpendicular to the given surface area along outward normal. Now on this consider, we'll try to understand the concept of electric flux. What is electric flux? Electric flux. We denote it by phi or phi e. You can use any of these two notations. You can either write phi, you can write what? Phi e. What is electric flux? We understand that whenever there is electric field, there is always electric field line associated. Now imagine I have a point charge screw here. Point charge screw. The electric field lines are shooting out like this. And then I have a surface area out here. Or I have a surface area out here. You can see that these two surface areas are certainly angle what? Solid angle. Omega. This is solid angle. To each surface area, how many lines are passing? 3. Now, if these 3 lines are directed perpendicular to surface areas, then this becomes what? Flux. Here you can see that the lines are coming out of radially, this charge plus 2. I can see more lines coming out this side also. You can draw it. Imagine another situation. We have a surface area out here, and these are free lines. If I hold a surface in the region containing electric field, then total number of lines which are passing through the surface at right angle is called electric flux. Meaning, total number of free lines passing through a given surface at right angle is called electric flux. And let the definition here. Total number of electric field lines passing through a surface at right angle is known as electric flux. Total number of lines passing through the surface is called electric flux, provided it is at what angle? Right angle. Now the question is how to calculate the electric flux. Let's see this. We spoke about electric flux density. Electric flux density is the number of lines which are passing through unit surface area at right angle. Meaning, when surface area is 1 unit, then how many lines are passing? Equal to electric flux density. And electric flux density is equal to how much? E. So, if I consider the surface area is A, and electric density is what? E, then what will be the electric field? Electric flux. Electric flux will be electric flux density into area. And electric flux density, you know, phi is equal to E, electric flux density, area is A. So we got a formula of electric flux E into E. Now, here electric field lines are already perpendicular to given surface area, but it will not always happen that electric field lines will be perpendicular to given surface area. They can be directed at a certain angle also. So we see many cases for calculating the electric flux. You should go through each one of these cases, and there will be some application of this. Now, remember, we'll be measuring all the angles with respect to the area vector. All the angles will be measured with respect to area, and not with the area vector, and not with respect to the given surface area. Case 1. When electric field is perpendicular to surface area. When electric field is perpendicular to given surface area. Suppose this is the case, this surface area, and these electric field lines are directed at right angle. This is direction of electric field, and this is suppose the area vector. So you can see that angle between these two is how much? How much? 1. Now we see the electric flux when electric field makes an angle theta with the area vector. Let's say this situation. There is a given surface area. This is area vector P, and this is electric field E. This angle is how much? Theta. But remember, we want electric field which is perpendicular to the area. So you have done components of a vector in class 11. E is directed at the theta with A. So component of E in direction of A will be how much here? E cos theta. Because we need component which is along the area vector, right? So remember, always get it here. If the angle between area vector and electric field is theta, then flux phi will be E cos theta into E. Now E cos theta will be, you can write E cos theta. You know that E and A both are vector quantities, so you can write E dot A. So this is phi. You can remember both of this formula, E cos theta, E dot A. Now what will happen? If suppose I consider a very small area, suppose I take a small area, for example, I consider a small area here. This is dA, and this is E, this angle is theta. Then if the area vector is small, component here is E cos theta, then flux will also be small, d phi में होचे E cos theta into d, or d phi is equal to, you can say, E dot dA. Now if using this area element I want to calculate flux for the entire surface, then I can integrate it. I can say total flux, I can integrate, adding large number of quantities is like what? Integrating is equal to E dot dA, and I have to do for the entire surface. So phi E will be integration of E dot dA. I am integrating over the entire surface area, so it becomes a surface integral. So surface integral of electric field is equal to electric flux. I am integrating electric field over the entire surface area. I have set up the limit as here, then phi is called what? Electric flux. So we will say that surface integral of electric field, surface integral of electric field, that is E dot dA for the entire surface area, is equal to electric flux. Very simply you can calculate. Now if the surface area is closed, then we will be using a closed integral symbol. Here we will close it. If it's a closed surface area, we will discuss in the Gaussian surface. So you understand, if you want to calculate flux, then I have to multiply electric field component in the direction of the area vector with the area of the given surface. We can see some examples, some technical cases, and remember this. There is an important point. Flux associated with a closed surface. Generally, it is a closed surface. Generally, three-dimensional surface considered as a what? Closed surface. It will not have any open surfaces included in it. Flux associated with a closed surface in an external electric field is 0. Let's answer this important concept. Suppose I consider a cube, for example. Okay, this is x axis, this is y axis, this is z axis, this is horizon, and the electric field is pointing along x axis. Suppose E naught. Let's take example. Is a cube and let the this side is A. This is A. This is A. This is also how much? A. Let the this side is A. And I want to find out what is the total flux through the cube. I can imagine like this. If you look at it, this duster, though this is not a cube, it's like a cuboid. I can use this box. It is not open though. Imagine it is closed from the top. This is how the field is going. This is along x axis, this is along y axis, and this is along z axis. I can assume this to be the horizon. The field is going like this. I'll say this is surface 1, surface 2, surface 3, surface 4, surface 5 and surface 6. If you study carefully, if I say the field is going like this, then this field is perpendicular to only this surface and this surface. Or you can say that electric field is along area vectors of this surface and this surface. But is perpendicular to area vectors of this surface and this surface. Imagine field like this, area vector is like this. So how much is the angle here? 90. Same thing here. Here it is along the area vector. Now, if I consider this surface area over here, you can see that area will be perpendicularly downward. This is the field. So again, the flux here will be 0. So we can conclude that flux will be passing only through this surface and this surface, and through remaining all the 4 surfaces it will be 0. We can assume like this. This surface 1, surface 2, surface 3 and surface 4. And the remaining 2 surfaces are on the side, you can see like this, which are not visible. This is 5 below and this is 6 above. So if I want to calculate, let's see flux through this surface area 1. In case of any 3-dimensional surface, you will be told area vector is always pointing outwards. So if I look at surface 1, so this is surface 1, this area vector A, and this electric field E. How much angle between them? 180. So flux through surface 1 will be how much? Phi 1 is E cos theta is E naught I, A raised A square cos 180. So minus E naught into A square. This is 5. 5 2. You can see this is 5 2. This area vector A, this electric field E. So theta is how much here? 0. Theta is 90. So this is for surface 1. For surface 2, theta will be 90 degree. Then phi will be E cos 90. Cos 90 is 0. If you multiply it, you will get what? 0. Phi 2 is 0. So phi 2 will also be how much? 0. Number 3, phi 4. Let's see phi 4 surface. This is the surface area. Area vector is outwards. Electric field is also going in the same direction. Both are parallel. Angle, how much is the angle here? Theta. Here angle is theta. Theta is going to 0. Here angle theta is 90. Here angle theta which is 180. So phi 4 will be E cos 0. Cos 0 is how much? 1. E naught into A square. Similarly, I can prove flux to surface 5 and flux to surface 6 will be how much? 0. Then theta will be 90. Then if I add total flux, how much is total flux? Total flux phi is equal to phi 1 plus phi 2 plus phi 3 plus phi 4 plus phi 5 plus phi 6. So phi 1 is minus E naught into A square. These two are 0. Phi 4 is E naught A square. These two also 0. This will again cancel out 0. So until unless you have a charge located inside, remember, if you place any closed surface in an external electric field which is uniform, electric field in a uniform external field, then flux is always how much? 0. So this should be kept in mind. Let's see question. Suppose in a three-dimensional space, I have a cube. This cube is placed in the XYZ plane like this. Z axis, y axis, this is z axis, and the electric field is here. E is along x axis. Suppose nearest side is at distance a, okay, and the electric field is variable. Electric field is variable. If electric field E equals to E naught x square or x cube I is applied across a cube as shown. Calculate net flux through it. And it's given that each side is of length A. Each side is of length what? A. You can clearly see that in this case, like in this case, the previous case, there is flux through surface 1. And let's see this surface 4 for example, or anything I can say 2 also. Flux will be only through these two surfaces, and through the remaining all forces only flux through here and here will have. These two will be 0 and this will also be 0, because in all these 4 cases, this case, angle between the area vector and electric field is 0, so there will be flux only through this surface and this surface. Now in this case, net flux will not be 0, because the electric field is depending upon what? The value of x, where x is distance from origin. So I can separate these two surfaces and see like this also. This is surface 1. This is the electric field that is going through, and this is surface 2. This is surface 2. This is the origin. This is where distance A, and this is where distance what? 2. Field here is suppose E1, and field here is E2. Then we field through this surface and field through this surface. Remaining all 4 surfaces electric flux will be 0, because the angle between electric field and area vector. Now see, in this case, area vector I will consider like this A, and this case I will consider area vector like this. This is A, because in case of a 3-dimensional closed surface, area vector will be directed for each surface what? Perpendicularly outwards. So this is A this side, this is A inside. You can see that the electric field is variable. E1 will be E naught A cube, and E2 will be E naught 2A cube, where x is distance along x axis. So you can say this will be 8 E naught A2. And now it will be value of area, which is square, so A square. Now we will calculate phi 1. Phi 1 will be E cos theta, or E1 A1 cos theta. We know that A1 and A2 both will be equal, and equal to A square. E1 is how much? E naught A cube into area is A square. And in this case, how much is theta 180 degree. Cos 180. And how much is cos 180 degree? Minus 1. So you come minus E naught e to the power 5. 5 is minus E naught e to the power 5. Now when I calculate phi 2, you can see that area vector and electric field in the same direction. So net flux through second surface area. Surface area 2. Phi 2 will be EA cos theta and E2 A2 cos theta. E2 is how much again? 8E0 AQ into area is how much? A square. 8 E naught E to the power 5. And we know that remaining flux will always be 0. So therefore, net flux phi is equal to, we have phi 1 plus phi 2. So phi 1 is minus E naught e to the power 5 plus 8 E naught e to the power 5 will be 7 E naught e to the power 5. So children, this is the net flux that will be going through the cube. So if any such problem is given, you will be able to do it without any difficulty. This is the net flux. So similarly, if you have been given any electric field and a surface area, you will be easily able to calculate how much electric flux if you know the intensity of electric field and the angle between area vector and the electric field will be very easy. Now it's an interesting problem which will form the basis of Gauss theorem, which we will discuss in the next class. A charge Q is located at the center of a sphere having radius r. Calculate total flux to the sphere. Actually, there is no external charge. All the charges are located at the center of the sphere. Can you imagine a sphere like this? This is a sphere, and at the center we have a charge plus radius is r. So you very well know that the electric lines of force is what? Coming out like this. At any point of time, electric lines of force will evolve radially outwards. If I consider any surface area here, small area out here, or small area out here, or a small area out here. In all these cases, you can see that area vector will be also directed radially. Area vector also be directed what? Radially. So if I consider a small area dA, so this area is how much? dA, then net flux through area dA we define E dA cos 0 E dA. Now if I want to find out the flux over the entire surface area, then dA I go on adding. So you can say therefore total flux will be equal to sigma d phi will be sigma of EG. Remember E is uniform because the electric field resistance R will be same throughout. So we have electric field E comes out dA into area will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square, and surface area of a sphere is how much? 4 pi r square. So 4 pi cancel out, r square is gone. So this q will what? Epsilon 0. So it will cross a very important result here, that if I place a charge q at the center of a sphere, then the net flux will be charge inside the sphere divided by epsilon 0. And actually, this is what will be saying is Gauss theorem, that flux through a closed surface will be equal to the ratio of charge enclosed by the surface and permittivity of free space. So this is an important illustration of Gauss theorem. We will be discussing in the next video. Now, what is unit of electric flux? Unit of electric flux. Electric flux phi is how much? E into A. What is unit of electric field? Newton per coulomb meter square. You can write this very easily. This is the unit. And if you want to find the basic units, basic unit children, force is m to the power -2. Coulomb is ampere into time to the power -1. And meter square is L square. So m L square equal is L cube e to the power -3 into the power -1. So what is the basic unit? Basic unit will be kT meter cube per second cube per ampere. Okay. So we have discussed various aspects of electric flux. Until the next class, we will be discussing Gauss theorem and its application. Thank you.